At my brother's engagement party, his fiancee's sister grabbed my prosthetic leg while I was seated, yanked it clean off in front of 40 guests, and held it up like a trophy. "See," she announced to the room, "I told you she fakes it for sympathy. Nobody who actually lost a leg moves that smoothly. I've been an amputee since I was 16. My older brother Theo was teaching me to ride his motorcycle on an empty road, something our parents had explicitly forbidden, and a truck ran the stop sign. Theo broke his arm. I lost my right leg below the knee. He never forgave himself, even though I told him 100 times it wasn't his fault. He just channeled all that guilt into showing up. He drove me to every physical therapy session for 2 years, learned to adjust my prosthetic better than my prosthetist, and once threatened to fight a kid in our cafeteria for calling me peg leg. We aren't romantic, obviously. He's my brother, but we became closer than most twins. What a stubborn, loyal idiot. Life got good again. I learned to walk, then run, then dance badly at parties. And when Theo met Priya 3 years ago, I didn't just gain a sister-in-law, I gained an actual friend. The three of us did everything together. Movie marathons, terrible karaoke, group texts at 2 a.m. Priya once told me, eyes wet, "My family is complicated. You and Theo feel like the first safe people I've ever had." I helped Theo pick the ring. I practiced his proposal speech with him 40 times. The engagement party was at a rented hall with string lights and too much food. I'd memorized the layout earlier, where the steps were, where the bar sat, the gap between the dessert table and the wall. Then halfway through the night, something felt off. The rug by the entrance had been moved. A chair sat where open floor used to be. I clipped my hip on it and heard a sharp little laugh behind me. That was Priya's sister, Renata. She'd flown in that morning and I'd barely spoken to her. But twice during dinner I felt her watching me, and once she leaned over and said low enough that only I could hear, "You walk too well for a cripple. I see what you're doing, keeping my sister and her man wrapped around your finger." My stomach turned to ice. I told her I had no idea what she meant. She just smiled and refilled her wine. 20 minutes later she made her move, kneeling beside my chair like she was going to compliment my shoes, then wrenching the prosthetic off and standing to display it. The room went silent. I sat there exposed, my face burning, the stump of my leg suddenly the center of 40 pairs of eyes. Renata kept talking, loud and triumphant, about frauds and attention seekers. I felt around the floor with my hand, shaking, trying to find anything to hold on to. And then I heard Theo's voice cut across the room, low and terrible. "Put my sister's leg down." Renata laughed. "Oh please, you're both in on it. She's been faking. She lost that leg because of me." His voice cracked. "I was driving. I was 16 and stupid, and I put her on a motorcycle our parents said no to, and a truck took her leg off the bone. I have spent 11 years trying to make that right, and you just ripped it off her body to win a party." The silence that followed had weight. I heard Renata's heels shift backward, fast, and then a wet, catastrophic crash. She'd stumbled directly into the 3-tier dessert table. Glass and buttercream went everywhere. People gasped. Then someone's grandfather called out, "Mayday!" and half the room dissolved into nervous laughter. Renata shrieked about cream in her eyes, frosting in her hair, clawing at her face on the floor. Priya didn't laugh. She crossed the room, knelt in front of me, and pressed my prosthetic gently back into my hands, her own hands trembling. "I am so sorry," she whispered. "She is not coming to my wedding. She's not coming to anything ever again." Renata was escorted out, still picking cake from her ears. Last I heard, Priya hasn't spoken to her since, and the wedding invitation that had her name on it was quietly shredded. Theo helped me reattach my leg right there on the floor. Then he held out his hand, and I stood up.